And I'm back for another live stream, of course, brought to you by the awesome people over at Princess Dental Staffing. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. Today's topic, we're talking about how to make yourself valuable to any dental office. Okay, so, we're going to be talking about how you can add value to your current offices or practices, operations, and really helping give the best possible patient care, how you yourself can do that on an individual level. Okay. But before we get into that, just want to remind everyone that each week we are bringing you a new live stream that talks about your career in the dental industry. So if you like the content we're bringing you, be sure to drop us a like. If you don't want to miss out on future streams, be sure to subscribe to our channel or follow our page. If you want more information on the topics that we're covering and that we're bringing you each week, be sure to jump onto princessdentalstaffing.com, where you can take a look at Princess Dental Staffing's blog. And also while you're on there, you can take a look and see what jobs are available in your area. So Princess Dental Staffing is an online dental job board. They have positions available for front office team members, dental assistants, dental hygienists, and dentists in a variety of different areas and locations, okay? So you can hop right on and see if they have any positions available in your area and what they're looking for. They have full-time, part-time, temporary, and permanent positions, of course. Okay. You can also, while you're on there, you can also create a profile and get your information in front of hiring managers as well, and just really get your knowledge, skills, and abilities and your accomplishments out there for potential employers to see. Okay. So a lot can be done. So be sure to visit princessdentalstaffing.com sometime today. Okay. All right, so back to today's topic, how to make yourself valuable to any dental office, okay? So tip number one, be a team player. Now, obviously being a team player is a little bit cliche. It's recommended across industries, but there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason why just about every industry needs someone to be a team player, and the dental industry is no different. Arguably, the dental industry, it's more important for you to be a team player because dental offices really rely on the entire team to run smoothly, okay? They rely on your front office personnel and your dental assistants and hygienists, and they rely on dentists and office managers and everyone to kind of come together and do their part to deliver high quality patient care to your patients, right? So that you can continue, so that your office can continue, okay? So what does being a team player look like in a dental office? Well, it can mean, being reliable in the dental office. That means, showing up on time. It means following through on your promises and the things that you said that you would do, okay? Because if those things don't happen, of course, it can really harm the rest of the team, right? Being a team player also looks like being a good communicator, right? And making sure that, all of your team members are kind of in the loop and they are updated and they know what's going on with patients, okay? So like, for example, if, you are with a patient and it's just taking a little bit longer than you initially planned, or maybe you're performing a procedure that you're a little bit slower on, make sure you let the dentist or the office manager know so that they can plan accordingly and you can continue to facilitate those smooth operations throughout the dental office, okay? Being a team player also looks like helping out where needed, okay? And now that's not to say that anyone, expects you to do someone else's job for them, but sometimes, things kind of happen or things kind of go awry and you need to be a little bit flexible in order to pick up the slack where needed and be a real, like I said, team player and make sure that things get done when they need to get done. Okay. Again, it's all about the patient care and it's all about making sure that the patient is receiving the best care possible. Okay. Assisting where needed as well is a really great way for temporary employees to be invited back. So when you're a temporary employee with a dental office or a dental practice, it's crucial that you make a really good impression, right? And that way you get to be called back to dental offices when they need you. You get to be referred out by dental offices as well. So it's really good idea to make a good impression. And one of the ways you can make a good impression is by helping out where needed, right? So being a team player is so crucial because, dental offices and dental practices, they spend, years building those relationships with patients and cultivating that trust and that bond with their patients. So whether you're a permanent team member or you're a temporary team member, flex or full-time or part-time, it's really important that you're able to be a team player so that you can help maintain that relationship and that trust and that bond with that patient. Okay. All right. So being a team player. Number two, being communicative. And of course, we touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking about being a good team player. Being communicative is definitely a big part of being a team player. But, communication, I think, definitely deserves its kind of own point in this list in being able to add value to your dental office, because communication is just so imperative, right? It's really, really vital that you keep your finger on the pulse of the office. And when I'm talking about pulse, I mean the workload, the culture of the office, and those sorts of things. Just keeping your finger on the pulse of the office and, and communicating that information as clearly as possible. So for example, are there areas where other team members are falling behind drastically? Is there a panic spreading around the office due to an unusual number of no calls or no shows that day, right? All of this is really, really important to be aware of it while it is happening. So make sure that you're tuned in and that you are communicating that information as well to other team members so that everyone can be on the same page and know what's happening. Additionally, being a good communicator means asking questions. And this is especially important if you're a temp or you're brand new to that office or practice, right? Really important to ask questions so that you know how the operations go and how things are done. For example, does the office use a specific filing system? Are the scalers where are the scalers sanitized and stored? Are there necessary X-ray machines, like where are the necessary X-ray machines if they're not located in the operatories, in the individual operatories? Knowing that information, is just very important so that you know how to, where to go and how to work throughout the day. So make sure, if you don't know that information, make sure you're asking the information, okay? Best time to ask those sorts of questions or to establish things that you're not quite clear on is first thing in the morning before patients arrive, okay? So make sure that, first thing in the morning that you are familiar with the processes, okay? And what's expected, okay? And number three, match the culture of the practice. Okay. So, determining and matching the culture of that individual practice is a really great way to, it allows you to have an easier time at any dental practice that you come into, so learning about that office's culture is a really big part of being being valuable to that office. For example, some dental offices are known for being very professional and polished, while others really pride themselves on their hospitality and their friendliness. Okay, you typically get a sense of the culture within a few hours, if not within a few minutes, while you're working there. So be sure to pay attention to how other team members interact with patients, so you can kind of get a sense of that culture and so that you can kind of blend in with it and follow along with it. Okay. One thing to note is that even if you're not that familiar with the office culture, it's never a bad thing to be friendly, to have a positive attitude, and to give good customer service. So even if you're really just not that familiar with, patient interactions, or, what that particular practice prioritizes as part of their culture, always a good idea to be friendly, positive, and give good customer service, and you can never go wrong. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about team culture as well. So team culture, basically I'm talking about how team members interact with one another, right? About, how they work together as a collective, as a group, as a team, right? So is it the type of culture that's extremely friendly and involved and, walking around the dental office, maybe popping into the operatory and giving a wave and seeing if they need anything or need any help? Or is it more of a team culture where everyone has their specific responsibilities and everyone kind of sticks to their specific responsibilities and relies on other people, other team members, to complete their responsibilities as well, with not as much interaction? Okay, so learning about the team culture is really a big part of being a team player and being more valuable to the office as well. Okay. And lastly, number 4, dress for the position. Okay. It's important to dress appropriately for whatever position you currently hold within that dental office. Okay. Now, if you are a permanent, if you're a permanent employee in that office, you probably already know what the dress code is. So it's always a wise choice to stay within that dress code. Now, some offices may not have like a dress code that's written down. It's something that everyone just kind of knows or understands, or maybe it's a little bit more lax. But it's always a good idea to get a sense of the dress code if you can't, if it's not written down, or it's not something that is set in paper, or anything like that. Take a look at the people around you and your team members around you, and that will kind of give you an idea of what is acceptable and what is not. Okay. Now, if you're temping, it might be a little bit different, okay? Or if you're brand new to the office, you may not know, okay? So if you're temping, or if you're starting a new position, make sure you call the office ahead of time, and you ask them kind of, what the dress code is or what is expected. Now, when it comes to being, a dental hygienist or a dental assistant, you're probably going to find yourself wearing scrubs to the office, right? And which seems kind of easy, but a lot of these scrubs, they have like a lot of bright colors, a lot of different patterns, and those sorts of things. And and certain dental offices might not like those bright colors, or they might not like those different patterns, or those sorts of things. So it's important to reach out to the office and find out, what's kind of acceptable, and what's kind of what the expectation is, right? But if you don't know and you can't find out, it's always a good idea to wear a neutral uniform, or like wear neutrals or uniform tones, and kind of stay away from prints if at all possible. If you're just not sure. And actually, some dental practices, they will require neutral or kind of uniform tones as well. Okay, and no prints or anything like that. So make sure you know beforehand, but when in doubt, stick to a neutral. Okay. Now, when it comes to front office dress code, now that's going to vary from dental office to dental office. Typically, most dental offices are going to require business casual, okay? Especially when it comes to patient-facing positions where you're not wearing scrubs. It's always a good idea to call and check, but generally, if you're not sure, business casual is usually the way to go, okay? All right. So those are our tips for being a valuable member of your dental office team, making yourself more valuable to a dental office. Okay, so let's kind of recap real quick and go back over them Number one, being a team player. That means being reliable. That means being communicative. That means helping out where needed, and just generally being dedicated to good patient care and service, right? Number two is being communicative. Make sure that you're sharing that information with everyone who needs to know the information, right? If you are taking a little bit longer with a patient, make sure you let the office manager know, or the dentist know, or the dentist know, okay? If you're not sure what's going on, make sure you ask the question, so that you know kind of how operations go and that you can fit in well. Excuse me. Number three is match the culture of the practice. So that means matching the office culture and the team culture as well. Okay. So make sure you take some time to note how team members are interacting with patients. That'll give you a good idea of the office culture that you want to kind of match and reflect. And make sure that you get a sense of the team culture and how the team interacts and works together, so that you can kind of fit right in and work with them well. Okay. And lastly, number four, dress for the position, okay? Especially if you're temporary or new to the office, it might be a little bit tricky. If you're permanent and you've been there for a little while, you probably have a good idea of what the dress code is, and it's always a good idea to stick to that dress code. But if you're new, or you're temping at that position, it's always a good idea to give them a call, give them a ring, and find out what the dress code is ahead of time. You may need to change your scrubs, or wear specific scrubs, or as front office person, you may need to change up your wardrobe a little to be a little bit more business casual. Okay, really just kind of depends. Okay. All right, so those are our tips for making yourself valuable to any dental office. Thanks for tuning in today with me, everyone. Appreciate everyone stopping in. And if you couldn't watch the stream when it was live, so glad that you got to watch it later. Okay, so we will be back next Wednesday with another live stream talking about your career in the dental industry. But in the meantime, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Continue to stay safe out there, and I will see you next week. Okay? All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.